between the things that we need to spend money on and the things that are what I really, really want. This balance being between what I need to spend money on, which for some of you is paying your mortgage, and for some of you is paying for your kids' education, or this or for that, versus the things that I really want, which is a nicer car and a nicer house and the vacations and flying a private plane because U.S. Airways stinks, which, by the way, they stink. They're not happy people anymore. I don't know what happened to U.S. Airways, but they stink. Okay, there's my bad propaganda. So the money represents the time that allows us to get the things that we want and the things that we really need. But what it's really driving towards is something that's deeper, something that I refer to as our deepest desire, or I might even go so far as to say that it's a purpose that we were all created for. What is a purpose that we were all created for? I don't know. Each of you are different. I happen to find one of my purposes in teaching people. Whenever I started teaching people about trading, it lit a fire in me, something I'd never experienced in my life. And so suddenly the money didn't matter anymore. Instead, I loved giving to people, and I loved watching their eyes light up. I have other things that really drive me. For example, family and the meaning that comes with family and getting to do things with family. For each of you have one or two or three deepest desires that have lived there for most, if not all, of your life. And I would suggest to you that the real why is not the money. The real why that you're driving for is what this money represents, which is the time, which frees you up to get the things that you really need versus the things you really want. Or I should say, frees you up to get the things you really want instead of just the things you really need. And ultimately, that's driving to this outcome that is a deep, deep-seated desire. If I were to just stop right there and not finish my talk, how many of you can already identify some of those deep desires? And you can say, that's what I really, really want. If you can identify that deep desire, that's what I'm talking about. For some of you, you need to spend some time thinking about it. But if you can identify it right now, just listening to me talk, then the truth is that you've got a desire that goes way deeper than money. And if you only focus on the money, you're never going to get the desire that you want. I happen to believe that we were created to live an extraordinary life. I believe that with every cell of my body. And I happen to believe that if we let money control us, we've given up control of our lives. And so what I would like to challenge you is to get focused not on the money, but to get focused on those deep passions and the deep desires that you really want, and realize that if we work for money, it's going to be a futile effort. We can work for all the money in the world, and it will never quench our thirst, because the thirst is not for money. The thirst is for a purpose that is greater than the money. And yet, if you will get focused on your purpose, if you get focused on the things that you really, really want, the things that really drive you, then one day you'll discover that the money is just a tool. And the money does not have to be an obstacle that's always standing between you and your desire, but rather the money becomes a facilitator. And then you come back to this little stock market seizure where you said, hey, if I could just learn how to trade the stock market, I'd have all the money in the world. And we start to reverse engineer that. And we say, well, if I had the right strategy, then I could trade the stock market. And if I could trade the stock market, then I'd have the money and I'd have the time, and ultimately I could get over here to this purpose that I'm really driving towards. And you say, well, how do I get the right strategy? The only way to get the right strategy is to learn how to pick the right direction. Well, how do I learn to pick the right direction? The only way you can learn to pick the right direction is to learn how to read the stock chart. And so it becomes a process. The truth is that if you will learn how to read the chart, which we started learning about tonight, then you will be able to learn how to pick the right direction. If you can learn how to pick the right direction, then you will be able to apply the right strategy. And if you can apply the right strategy, the truth is you will be able to trade the stock market and make all the money in the world. But this is not your outcome. This is not your outcome at all. And if this is the outcome that you focus on, making all the money in the world, somewhere along this journey, you will get lost. And so what I want to encourage you to do is focus on this over here. What's my real purpose? What am I really driving towards? Because if I make some money and it facilitates my dreams, then great. But if I'm focused on my dreams, then I believe that the money is going to follow. And if the money doesn't follow in trading, then maybe it's going to follow through another venue that somehow I will have opened my mind to and I will have come into the path for. But if it's a purpose that I'm created for, then it's also a destiny. And this destiny is something that's worth truly living for. You will find that meaning. And so I want to encourage you tonight, as I kind of wrap up tonight's class, to just ask yourself some questions. You don't have to answer them right now. You can think about them. You can meditate upon them if you choose to do so. You can go spend some time at the park. But ask yourself the question, why do I really seek financial freedom? You know, for a lot of people, they seek financial freedom, they find it, and then they die because that's all they ever pursued. Your life is worth a lot more than that. If you're only pursuing the money, you will never find the fulfillment. So ask yourself, what does the financial freedom really represent to me? What is that emotionally driving force in my life? When I can dig deep and find that emotion, then I can have the courage to push through this journey, and I can go through the valleys, and I can go through the mountain peaks, and I can get to the end of the journey and realize that it was a journey worth living. Because it was for a purpose. It was driving towards an outcome. But if you don't have any reason, or you don't have any understanding what your reason is for your financial freedom, if you don't have any idea what's really driving you, you're going to be lost on the journey, or you'll start the journey and you'll give up. You won't have the drive that you need to finish it. There's one or two or three things, that's probably about it, one or two or three, that really you desire more than anything else. For me, it's contributing to people's lives. It is seeing my family, spending time with my family, doing things like the trips that we do, and living an extraordinary life that I personally feel that we were created to live. On our website, when you get to our membership area, you're going to find that there's an area where you can type in your mission, your purpose in life. And if you'll get focused on that, you'll keep it in front of you, your odds of success are going to be infinitely higher. When you tap into that purpose, it's going to give you the drive and the fuel that you need to push forward. Sometimes you may find yourself on the journey and find yourself wanting to quit. You may find yourself constantly quitting goals. How many of you can identify with that? You've quit goals before and you don't know why. You're always quitting. The reason you're quitting is because your purpose is not strong enough. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Let's find the actual driving desire, the thing that you want more than anything else, and let's associate this success, this thing that you're focused on right now, to getting to that outcome. When you do that, your odds of success go up exponentially. You may not know what your purpose is right now, but here's what I promise you. Every one of you in the depths of your subconscious mind have one or two or three things that truly you desire more than anything else. Some of those things you may have kind of put in the back of your mind and started to believe that you could never achieve them, because this is where your dreams live. But I'm a person who says, let's turn our dreams into reality. And the way we do that is we start to claim those dreams, look at them, say, this is what my dream is. This is what I want to go do. Now let's go create the life that will fulfill and bring that dream into vision. If you will get focused on your journey in a way that is outcome oriented, if you will get focused on your journey in a way that focuses on what is my purpose, what is the thing that is deeper in me than anything else that drives me through to this, you are going to find that, number one, the journey is going to be a joy. It's not going to be a chore. It's not going to be miserable. It's going to be an adventure that is fun and it's worth living. More importantly, you're going to find that your chances of success go up exponentially. There is not a single successful person that I know that does not focus on the outcome first. And I know a lot of successful people. I work with a lot of successful people. I work with people that have multiples and multiples of millions of dollars. I dine with them. They are my friends. I hang out with them. And every one of the successful people that I know that I hang out with, they all start with the outcome in mind. My driving purpose for this task. And so I want to encourage you, dig deep, try to find what it is that's really going to drive you on this journey. And what you're going to find as we go down this journey, if you stay on it long enough, It's not actually the goal that you think it is. It's not the money that you think it is. It's about the person that you start to become to obtain that goal. When you become a person who can trade the market successfully for cash, and you're doing it not because you're in love with the money, but rather because you've learned how to use the tool of money to facilitate other things in your life, when you start to become that different person, you're going to discover that the journey was not about the outcome, it was about the journey. It's called life. It's the thing that we all do together. And so the reason I give this little speech, the reason I like to encourage you with it, is if you will get focused on that, then the hiccups that you have will actually become an adventure. They become something that you want to go through. They become something that are empowering to you rather than something that will disempower you, that will take you out of the game and will keep you discouraged. Now, I realize for some of you, this is a way of thinking that is uncomfortable, and it's not something that you want to dig into, and I'm not going to force it on you. But if you'll take the time to kind of dig into that deeper side of the meaning of life, then what you're going to find is the journey becomes a wonderful experience. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of class number 1. Here are your action steps for the evening. Work on uncovering your purpose and your driving force. And I got a couple of questions there in your notebook for you. Check out our community at tradesmartu.com if you've not done so already. Of course, that's where all of your recorded classes are, and that's where you can connect with the other fellow traders. Check out our free resources, and of course, come back Thursday night for class number 2, ready to learn, because in class number 2, we're going to start learning about support and resistance and determining where those turning points all occur.